Significant progress has been made on forests, global stakeholders said as they celebrated Forest Action Day in Marrakech. The challenge now is to frame solutions and secure financing to be able to scale up these successes. Without forests, implementation of the Paris Agreement is impossible. But how do we secure, protect, and support the forests of the world? The forests of today absorb and store over 2 gigatons of carbon emissions from the atmosphere every year. During the first climate negotiations in 1995, the role of forests were non-existent. Now, parties are working to implement an agreement that acknowledges the critical role that sustainably managed forests must play in responding to climate change.
Costa Rica and Papua New Guinea presented in COP1, 1994, the idea of forests being a relevant mitigation instrument, 8 to recognize it as an important sector of the Climate Change Convention. We learned, and now we have 64 countries working under UN RED. Is a major change. Is now the instrument that is available for developed and developing countries.
Giving hope that the climate process is bringing about the change we want, the Partnership for Peatland Restoration Agency shared recent developments in Indonesia.
In the last COP21 in Paris, the President of Indonesia, Joko Widodo, was also announced that the government is going to form this Peatland Restoration Agency. And the next month, the Peatland Restoration Agency was instituted. So it is aimed to restore 2 million hectares of degraded peatland and in 7 provinces in Indonesia within the next 5 years.
Climate change is not in the future, it is now, especially in Africa. This is not just about forests. It is about the people who live and depend on forests for their livelihoods.
Indigenous people's knowledge are very valuable as practical solutions when now we are talking about needing action to combat climate change. But we cannot only recognize the knowledge without recognition of the rights of these knowledge holders. In Chad, we do have 2 kinds of projects on indigenous traditional knowledge and climate adaptations. First one is the 3D mapping that we build through the indigenous traditional knowledge and the science knowledge. And another project is how we can monitor all the knowledges who are oral from the peoples about the adaptation and mitigation. So we are using this project with the meteorological peoples who have the science knowledge to predict the weather, and we try to write down how they can have the better information about the weather casting, and that can help adaptation of the peoples.
Unlocking the potential of forests rests heavily in the hands of finance.
We heard from the Mediterranean to the Sahel to Africa and the Cafi Basin to Ecuador and Colombia that many countries are placing actions on restoring landscapes and managing forests for the benefits of their local communities. The role of land tenure and land rights is extremely important, as is engagement with indigenous peoples and local communities, because this can't be done without their participation.
So today there is about $180 billion a year of value being produced by forest risk commodities, by production of forest risk commodities. By 2020, this could turn into an investment opportunity in sustainable commodities of $200 billion a year. So what do we need to actually unlock that opportunity and turn this industry around? We need compliance by the financial sector, really having the compliance in only funding sustainable production. The second thing that we need to actually get the green investment vehicles, green bonds, sustainable finance letter of credit that allow investors to participate specifically in the sustainable portion of the supply chain. Third, we need the big buyers to continue to do what they're starting to do, which is use their procurement muscle to basically kick off the transformation by the producers and by the smallholders and support them with finance tied to procurement commitments. And finally, we need public finance to create the enabling condition for all this to happen. That means creating the right policy environment, create the right knowledge by smallholders, the right investment opportunities for smallholders, and finally the right land tenure structure in which sustainable finance for sustainable commodity production can flourish.
Forging ahead requires multi-stakeholder engagement, particularly from the business community.
For businesses like Unilever, the cost of not doing this is now very evident against our bottom line. So we've estimated that the cost of climate change is affecting our bottom line approximately 300 million euros per year, which is significant. So that there's not only a moral obligation for doing this, but also a business reason as well.
An exciting development this year is that for the first time, the outcomes of today will be distilled and added to a special climate champion report, bonding the event to negotiations.
Each day we'll try to assemble what are the main results. First, evaluation of where do we stand on a particular problem, like forest, for example, on deforestation. The second is what are really the new announcements that can, in a way, produce hopes that we can do much better. And this will be gathered as a sort of a single message in the high-level event.
A day devoted to forests gave a chance for people to come together to celebrate and reflect, as well as prepare for the next steps forward. Recommendations from today will be forwarded to a high-level panel for discussion at the end of COP22 negotiations.